She's a great name. But there's gotta be something others. That's not good. Pressure on the top.
Good evening. I'd like to call the March 6, 2025 meeting of the City of Pleasant Hill Architectural Review Commission to order. Can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Kapoor, not here yet. Commissioner Patari. Commissioner Weir is absent today. Vice Chair Nelson,
Here.
and Chair Johansson.
Here. Now we'll move on to public comment. At this time, the public is welcome to address the Architectural Review Commission on any item, with the exception of items scheduled for public hearing. There's an opportunity for the public to speak on other agenda items at the time they are discussed. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. And also, if you have a chance, thank you all for coming this evening. We do have speaker cards in the back. If you would like to speak on an item later, please fill out a speaker card. Now, are there any public comments? Seeing without the not related to agenda items. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the minutes from February 20th, 2025. Someone like to make a motion?
Sure. I'll move to adopt the minutes from was it February 25th, you said?
20th,
20th. Okay.
2025. Okay.
Commissioner Patari,
Yeah.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Chair Johansson.
Yes. Okay, we'll now move on to the public hearings. Item number 1 is ENT 2024-0051, Ellenwood Park HOA exterior modifications at 300 to 359 Rock Creek Way. Can we please get a staff report?
Yes, thank you, Chair Johansson. The request tonight is a public hearing to review exterior modifications to an existing multifamily residential property community. These exterior modifications include refreshing existing landscape elements throughout the community, adding new planter beds where current lawn turf is, adding compost bin enclosures and step stones, replacing an existing monument sign, replacing existing street name signs, and finally removing and replacing 11 trees from the community. Quick background, the property was developed in the 1980s. It consists of 19 identical buildings containing 114 townhomes. Here's a look at the community. It runs along Ellenwood Way. This aerial is rotated, so north is to the left of the image, just it would fit nicer on the slide. And then within the slide presentation, it's broken up into essentially a north and a south side, so it's cut more or less in half. You can see Longbrook Way on the north, Ellenwood Way runs all along the eastern side, and Ellenwood Drive on the south side. And then it's bordered by another residential community to its west. Here's some site photographs just to give you an idea of some of the areas that we'll be talking about this evening. In the upper left-hand side, there's a picture of pretty standard garage doors, which have small planters in between the garages containing oleander shrubs that have been trimmed up. In the middle top, there's a picture of some closets on the outside of the buildings, which are pretty typical. These closets are where some stepstones will be installed to get better pedestrian access to those closet doors from the common walkways. They'll also be installing enclosures using that fence material in front of Commissioner Nelson to create little enclosures where they can tuck green bin, compost bins. The upper right and the lower left are some of the main intersections where they'll be adding new landscape planter beds in replacement of some of the turf lawn. You can also see some of the landscape shrubs in front of the patio enclosures on the lower left picture. And you can see some of the oleander shrubs inside of those patio enclosures. All of the oleanders on the project site, 163 in total, I believe, they're proposing to remove and replace with new plants. And finally, on the lower right picture, you can see an image of the existing monument sign within that landscape median area. That monument sign is proposed to be replaced with a new monument sign. We'll see details later. And then you can also see the street name sign with the blue street name and then the wood post. Those will also be replaced, 5 in total. So I was mentioning that we've broken it into north and south. So this is a partial site plan showing the north side. I tried to enhance that legend on the upper right side for your viewing. They'll be removing 11 trees in total. I believe there's 9 on this northern side and 2 on the south side. In the green trees are existing site trees that would be retained. And the white circle with the X is all the oleander shrubs you can see along all the garage doors and the patio enclosures. There's also a pochette that shows some of the lawn area to be removed. And finally, an orange color showing some ivy that the applicant would like to replace with plants. And same thing here on the south. I'd also point out, you can see the stepstone patterns on the ends of the buildings. Those are where they would add the stepstones at those closets and where they would also add the green bin enclosures. Here's a look at some of the typical stepstone layouts, which would be building dependent and condition dependent, and the typical patterns they would use to gain access to those closets. And then on the lower side, you can see an image of the fence enclosure and the stepstone material they're proposing. Now we'll look at some of the lawn replacement areas where they have highlighted here, pardon me, on the north along Longbrook and Ellenwood, and on the south along Longbrook and Ellenwood. Most of these lawn replacement areas are adjacent to the common walkways and highly visible from the street intersections. Here's the replacement tree, proposed replacement trees. And the landscape architect is here this evening. She can speak to some of these plant and tree material selections. I know there's a lot of well water used to irrigate the landscape in this area. So there's some well water conditions they have to contend with, which dictates some of the plant selection. There's also a need to cater the plant selection depending on whether the location is receiving mostly sun or mostly shade throughout the day. And that was another thing that was considered. So there's an assortment of flowering plants, ground covers, and ornamental grasses that have been used. A lot of these we frequently see on landscape projects throughout the city. Tend to do well here, and they tend to be drought resistant. Here's the patio and garage planter plans. Again, there's options for whether it's a shady side of the building versus a sunny side of the building. We'll move to signage now. The monument sign is located within an existing landscape planter median. They would be replacing that wood sign, which is aging, with a metal sign. So it'd be a tubular metal, aluminum frame with a metal cabinet sign 2 inches in thickness within that frame. And landscape would be modified slightly by adding sort of a swath of rock within that landscape planter. Chair Johansson has the color sample for that center panel. The whole sign would be metal. And finally, the street name signs, also, I believe, original and made with a wood post, which is aging. And they're proposing to replace this sign with a metal sign and metal post, similar in dimensions, with a larger base and skinnier post. But most of the dimensions in the sign copy would remain fairly uniform to what's there now. There's 5 total signs that will be replaced. Staff reviewed the project and we did find it in substantial conformance with our citywide design guidelines. The applicant is maintaining large, open, shared common areas without breaking it up into smaller spaces. The landscape elements that are being enhanced are distributed around the property for benefit for the majority of people there. And the materials that they have picked are appropriate in scale, they're appropriate for the context, and they should do well. The sign copy and background provide adequate contrast for motorists. The messaging is simple and concise, and the color scheme is kept at 3 colors, which is in line with our design guidelines. Staff's recommendation at this time is that the commission review the proposal, receive public testimony, accept the CEQA exemption, and if deemed appropriate, approve architectural review permit, sign permit, and tree removal permit, ENT 2024-0051, subject to the attached conditions of approval with any modifications as directed by the commission this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for staff at this time? Is the, like the mounding that's shown in the plans, is that just like a leftover from past designs?
The mounding,
Yeah,
the applicant might be able to speak to that better.
okay,
It's existing, we are not changing anything.
all right. It looked like some of it isn't there anymore, but anyways, okay. And then another question, is there, I'm sort of under the impression that there were city guidelines, standards about trees at street frontages. Is that the case?
Design guidelines?
Yeah, or standards of.
You know, I think that they use a variety of the design guidelines
To
recommend
have them,
to have them.
yes.
Yeah, I believe it's encouraged that the street frontage have a variety of trees.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, that's all.
I had a question on the lawn replacement areas. Just wanted to get some clarification. Is the entire lawns being replaced or just areas in between?
Would you like the applicant to come up to the podium and,
We're gonna, we'll have,
or we'll move to that? Okay.
yes,
Right.
yeah.
Okay,
We
yeah,
can,
I'll wait for it.
okay. I think the applicant, I believe, is here. Would you like to share anything about the project? Or make yourself available for questions?
I'm with questions. I think
Okay.
you've done a great job.
Okay, can you come up to the microphone and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Neelu Yadav, landscape architect, and I'm the applicant for the project. So I welcome any questions.
Okay, thank you. You have questions for the applicant?
Yeah, just a clarification on the lawn replacement. What is the extent of lawn that is being replaced?
There is, we are only replacing a portion of the lawn, and it's closer to where the walkways are. So we want to keep around the edge, we want to keep it similar to what it is, which is open lawn, but we also want to reduce the use of water. So we are trying to come to a happy medium.
That's where I was getting at actually, in terms of water conservation.
Yeah.
Right. The other question, just the percentage of drought resistant plants. I mean, are all of them drought resistant or like 70%, 80% of them?
Actually, the entire replacement plants, they are all low water use. So they all follow the WUCOLs, and they are in the 2 to 4 water use.
And I want to compliment you on the package. It's pretty well presented, very comprehensive.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Okay, we'll move on to public comments on this item. Thank you. I have 2 speaker cards for this evening. Would Fran Carey like to come up and share?
Questions?
Okay.
More after reviewing that myself.
Silly question, though. The signs, couldn't they be black with white lettering? We don't have any blue in our complex, and when we did, those signs were replaced once before. They were originally green. And green fits more in with nature, but the blue is just kind of, it would just be nice with a big black sign with the name with white lettering. Is that a possibility?
With our, blue is to
Okay.
keep it the same as what it is right now.
Yeah.
So we are not changing the color.
Yeah.
What's
There's-
the reasoning for that?
So there's an example, what's been applied. There's an example in our package of a blue sign that's there existing, and that's, so.
I'm just wondering why we can't change. the
Okay, no,
color.
I mean, it's an interesting idea and we'll
Because we have
consider
no
it.
blue in the complex.
Okay,
And I was just wondering how we're going to fund the whole project. I mean, to pull out all of those oleander trees and then maybe the damage done to the cement or the asphalt, and then adding amendments or whatever you call it to the garage area. That soil isn't even soil anymore. There's a lot of broken cement that's been thrown in there. So I'm just wondering how we're going to fund this and over what period of time is this going to happen?
we appreciate the comments, but it sounds like there's maybe some that needs to be internal to the HOA. And so at this time, if you could address us with any questions or
Okay.
comments.
Well, let me see. Well, with these plants, how is it going to look with the additional shrubbery we have? We have a lot of bare spaces, and is it going to blend with all of the existing shrubs that we have? Because we have a lot of bare areas.
Okay,
So it would be nice if you guys could come and view the property and then look at the samples to see before you decide.
okay, thank you. Next up is Rosemary Meadow.
I had a lot on here, but since your comment, I've taken them all out. But my concern is more about the lawn replacement. That area has always been very difficult to have anything grow there, truly anything. Trees, we've planted, I've been on the board before. I'm no longer on the landscape committee, but I was on the, anyway, over the years, they've planted trees. They just don't grow. They don't grow. They're just stunted, and even the ones that are there that they're gonna leave there, they have these balls on the bottom, they haven't grown properly. So my concern is with this, with these new plantings that are gonna go in, are they gonna survive? And then what happens? Because now the grass is gone, the shrubs won't grow, they won't survive. They have to put more irrigation in that area, there's no doubt about it. But we have boron on top of this horrible, and I think the topsoil is totally gone if there was ever any in there. I'm an original owner, and so I saw what it looked like when they seeded the grass, okay? And I don't think they put any topsoil on, they just seeded what was there, and it's cracked and hard and mushy in the winter. So it's really the adobe clay that we're working with there. So if that isn't done properly somehow, those plants they're going to put in are going to die. And I can guarantee it. I've just seen too many trees die there. So I'm not opposed to having all of this beautiful stuff put in, but I really want it to thrive. I want to keep replacing and adding more cost and adding more cost.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I want to say.
Are there other members of the public who would like to speak? Okay, please introduce yourself.
Hi, David Gutierrez. Moved in with my wife into Ellenwood about 3-4 years ago. And like some of the other folks that spoke and had some questions, one of my original questions after hearing some of this information was around the process. And that may again be internal, but after this, it's my understanding that the HOA would then come back to the community to let us know that this plan had been approved, and then we get to make the decision financially, architecturally, et cetera. We would be fine. Is that
Think
correct?
more financially than architecturally.
Meaning that if there's any pushback on the designs,
Yeah.
then we'd have to come back to this forum for a reevaluation.
Either
Is that a
this,
fair
I mean,
assumption?
you'd come back to staff first, but then if they deem it a large enough change, then yes, it would come back here.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Would the applicant like to respond to any of the comments that have been given? Can you come up to the mic?
I would like to respond to the comment on the growth of the plants. So one of the big reasons for doing this change was to follow the state of California mandate for using less water. So we are trying to fulfill that. The plants have been chosen to be salt tolerant and boron tolerant. We did a lot of work trying to figure out what would work, given that our water here has boron. And we will be amending the soil to make sure that the plants grow. So given that I'm the applicant, I worked very hard on it, I would definitely try my best to make sure those plants survive, because otherwise it's all for nothing. So just wanted to make sure I respond to that.
Just one follow-up question based on their comments. Along Longbrook Way, there were some small trees that are scheduled to be removed. Is there a reason why new trees couldn't be planted along that frontage?
So we have the trees that are being removed. They have tried to plant trees there multiple times and they have not survived.
Okay,
So we did not want to risk planting in exactly the same locations. And that's why we've chosen different locations.
okay. Thank you for the background. Any final questions?
Yeah, I think the one last question I had was on the signage itself, the island signage, because they seem to be 4-inch letters and it's pretty low. So from a moving car, would it be comfortable for someone to even catch the sign as they move along?
It is actually very similar to the current sign. We've kept the same profile as what it is right now. We didn't, the purpose of this project was not to change the look of the place completely, because honestly, the place looks nice. And there is a certain aesthetic to the place. It looks like a park. So we wanted to maintain that. And the sign is designed to be very similar to the existing one. It is just done with more long-lasting materials. The existing one it was done with the pressure-treated wood, and it's almost gone. Like you touch it and you can literally break pieces off of it. So we are just replacing it with a metal sign. And the color was to bring attention to it.
So maybe this print was a little misleading because I couldn't see the contrast between the letters and the background.
Yeah.
So, but after looking at this, I think may be able to get that contrast.
Mhm.
Oh, no, we've closed the public comment at this time. Thank you. Okay.
So I do have a question, and maybe I am wading into territory that I shouldn't, but to the gentleman's point about kind of the order of things here. So you are hired by the HOA?
Yes.
So is this just an issue? I mean, when we have people, when we have residents here who are kind of concerned about how we got here, I know it's not our venue, but it's sort of, it seems like the buy-off would have happened by the HOA and then hired you. You know, like there should be like consensus. Now, there's 114 units there and we don't have that many people. So, I mean, maybe there is, but,
I think the president of the HOA is here. He
yeah, I'm
should
just a little
respond.
bit curious why we have people here feeling like, yeah,
Yes. So my name is Donna Taylor. I'm the president of the HOA board. We have been working on this project for over a year now. We've been talking about it in all of our meetings. We included at the Bennett's, we included at newsletters, e-blasts. We've had huge support for the project. You're seeing a few people here who may disagree, but we have 114 owners. We sent out a survey. 54 returned the survey, which is pretty good response rate. An overwhelming majority fully support the project. The Ellenwood was built in 40 years ago. So we've gone through the process. We have hired our landscape architect. We've been very clear. We have very strong reserves that will cover the cost of the project and then some, so we have no concerns about funding.
so I guess then would you characterize these plans as having general community support?
Yes, NILU presented at our November meeting to the community. We had people on Zoom, we had people attending. So people have seen these proposals. And this is not a surprise to the community. This is welcomed in the community.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. We can now bring it to the commission for discussion. I'll lead out. My only concerns was about no street trees along Longbrook Way. They seem to have their reasons, so.
And I guess the other issue that's sort of under our purview is the color of the signs.
Yes, that is true. The sign, and I would say maybe even the proportion of the sign too.
And the proportion of the sign.
So, I mean, yeah. Not my favorite sign that's come through. but
What?
It's not my favorite sign that's come through, but I mean, I wonder if it could be shorter. I'm not entirely sold on the color.
Monument sign.
Yes, the monument sign. It's very simple.
Something wrong with simple?
I mean, maybe it's clear and legible.
I'm messing with you.
Could you turn your microphone on, please? Sure.
Sorry, did I miss this? Is it really supposed to be that Ellenwood Park is not supposed to be centered in the sign?
From top to bottom?
Yeah.
That's how it's shown.
That's what that shows, right? That's not
Yes.
centered?
Yeah, it's not in the center. It's in the-
Maybe it's a little too low. You're right. Not centered, but it is meant to be.
Thank you.
That's all.
Okay.
Meant to blend in.
Well, I mean, so would you like it to be taller or what's the?
No, I mean, I think that having it off-centered top to bottom kind of throws off the proportions and makes it look like, oh, could it be 4 inches shorter?
Oh.
But if it's raised up, Yeah, that's a gold color. Our print is more of a brown,
Yeah.
kind of go back and
It's about
forth.
16 or 18 inches off the ground. And I
Yeah.
just did a quick calculation on the dimensions.
They had is the landscape refreshed there at the sign.
And now that we're seeing this, I suppose there's enough contrast, like the fire district is gonna be okay with. Because I don't know, they would have been okay with that, but
Yeah, that threw me off.
yeah.
They couldn't give the exact what it's going to look like on metal. It's going to be a little duller than that. You might have a smaller something. This is what the color is supposed to look like.
Oh,
So it's
thank
a
you.
little-
Okay.
So that's contra.
Yeah, but when they did it on the sample, they couldn't do it.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure we're getting the color we're gonna see.
Yeah, no, I think, the smaller swatch looks a little more national park than the large one looks more gold.
Yeah. I mean, I don't,
Other than that, I feel like those are kind of the facing things for me, were the sign and the trees, and can't grow trees, they can't grow trees, and they seem to have tried in the past.
what about the comment about the blue signs?
I mean, I don't know if there's any standard about what's is there any requirement for a color of the signs?
She made the comment. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna, it's gonna be this, right? I mean, that's better. See,
Well, then,
it's going, no, that's existing.
I know, but they're saying the color's gonna match the existing.
So it's not.
It's gonna be blue.
This is kind of the thing where it's like, well, is that the desire of the whole community? I mean, it's been blue for 40 years. So, I mean,
Are we talking about the street signs?
Yes, the street.
yeah, there was a
sign.
comment made about the street signs being blue.
Oh, right. Yeah, so the street signs are blue and the other. And we can certainly look at. We can another option if you want us
Okay.
to. but
I think if there's a different color that's acceptable to staff,
Yeah,
that's fine with me.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if it,
Yeah, just,
Particular.
that's kind of like why I kind of posed my question earlier. It's
Yeah.
like, if people who live there are saying "Well, this color doesn't,
is there a city standard for like a private road sign color?
don't we?
Yeah, I've seen like the white ones with the green
White with
letters.
green is what we usually have on private.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe there is a city standard for the color of a sign in a private road,
Okay,
but I would like to look through our ordinance and report back
Okay.
to you.
It's widespread. Like you can tell the private roads in the city.
from the white
because
with the green.
Colors are reversed. It's a white background with green letter.
So, I mean, maybe that would be the preference. would be
Yeah,
To do that.
I mean, if there's a standard, then they should go by the standard.
Yeah,
If there is a standard, we are happy to follow. it.
Okay.
But I
Let's
couldn't
do that.
find anything. I looked through the sign ordinance, and I couldn't
If there's no standard, though,
If there's no
if
standard.
you're gonna ask staff, we'll say green on white, because look around the city and that's what
Yeah.
you'll see. But otherwise, private streets kind of have free reign. As long as it's legible and the white's on the blue, it's legible, so.
Like I'm thinking of, up off of, it's off of Gregory, right there across from, there's a subdivision there. It was new in the 90s or the 80s.
Okay.
It's right across from it's at Cars, I think. Like that subdivision, I think is a private road and I think it has a white sign. And then there's one on,
We have a lot of cul-de-sacs off of our street.
there's one on Pleasant Hill Road at the end of Boyd. That one I think is private. The one at the end of Boyd at the T.
Oh, the new-
Like the white on black, but we were like, we shouldn't
And then-
change what's.
Okay,
existing.
and then there's one off
Okay.
of
So if the commissioners are okay with us using this.
Lucille
we would
also.
like to propose that.
Okay, so the applicant is proposing using what's shown in the picture of the white on black.
It's fine with me.
That's, Okay,
Unless there's a standard, the white on
Okay.
black is fine with me.
there you go.
Yes.
Provides the contrast.
Yeah.
and-
Yes.
Responds to the comment. It's not blue anymore.
Okay, anything?
There might be a comment.
Oh, is there? Yes.
Oh, just one thing I want to add. There might be, on second thought, there might be some threshold for color for signage from a safety standpoint. So I'd also like to defer to other departments such as fire and police and check.
Okay, so we're gonna check.
Okay.
The white on black,
And then,
I think, has the contrast.
yeah, and maybe when you guys, yeah, staff will communicate with the applicant and,
We do, staff has recommended a condition of approval that the project comply with the standards of the fire district and the police
Okay.
department and all that.
All right.
So,
I think we've landed on just so it's not blue. And if there's a
Okay.
city standard, you should go with it. All right.
okay.
Well, then with that,
Yeah, would someone like to, so we center the sign, well, that's
Yeah.
their intention, so,
so we don't have any actual changes then, I don't think.
doesn't seem like it.
Okay. All right, then I'd make a motion to approve this. Sorry, could you tell me again, Ben, what the number is?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. All right, I would make a motion then to approve ENT 24-0051. This is not really a change, but just to memorialize that the text in the monument sign will be centered, and then that the street signs are going to be changed from to a black background with white text or some, we'll say something similar.
Subject
to
to
staff
review
review.
by
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah. All right.
Sounds good.
I second.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Petard,
Yes.
and Chair Johansson.
Yes. Thank you all. Good luck with your project. Thank you. Now move on to item number 2. ENT 2024-0035 Taco Bell Restaurant Architectural Review Permit and Sign Permit at 1700 Contra Costa Boulevard. May we get a staff report?
yes, Chair Johansson, thank you very much.
Okay.
So this is a architectural review permit and sign permit request.
Just a second, it would be helpful if you move your conversations outdoors. Thank you.
I'll just wait a minute.
Okay,
Okay, again, this is a Taco Bell at site improvements and signage for, this would be an architectural review permit and sign permit request located at 1700 Contra Costa Boulevard. In brief, so the architectural review permit would include modifications to the exterior building colors, including the main color, accent color, and trim colors. New artwork feature, which we'll look at later in the presentation. This is a graphic that's located within an existing framed area of the building elevation. And finally, landscape improvements. There's some deficient landscape areas, and the applicant would like to revert the landscape back to what was previously approved by the ARC. The sign permit request includes multiple signs on the project site, including 3 canopy-mounted signs that each read Taco Bell, 2 wall-mounted Bell logo signs, which are cabinet signs. There's also a sign face replacement in the existing double-face monument sign along Contra Costa Boulevard. There's a sign face replacement in one existing single-faced directional sign. That's the drive-through sign with the Bell logo. There's one new single-faced directional sign reading Enter with the Bell logo. one new single-faced informational freestanding sign. This is an exempt sign for mobile pickup, grab and go type stuff. A quick background. In February 2010, the ARC approved a building color change, new signage, and landscape improvements. Later in June of that year, the Planning Commission adopted an increase in sign area of no more than 44 square feet to be distributed evenly on the west and south elevations only, where 39 square feet would typically be allowed for the site based on the building frontage. Here's a look at the site plan. Contra Costa Boulevard runs north and south on the left side of the site. There's a parking lot on the southern portion. The building is located on the north, and the drive-through aisle wraps around the northern side of the building. Here's what the building looks like today. These are the colors and signage previously approved back in 2010. As you can see, there's signage on the west-facing and south-facing elevations, but no sign on the north-facing elevation where that drive-through window is and the canopy above. Here's a look at the refreshed building colors that would be consistent with the new branding for Taco Bell and similar to the other Taco Bell located on the north side of town. They're replacing the signs. You can see the west and north or south-facing signs, sorry, with the Taco Bell text and Bell logo above. You can also see the artwork in that area I mentioned before. And the new Taco Bell sign on the north-facing side above that drive-through window that's now proposed, which increases the total sign area. Here's some photos of the site and the landscaping. These are current photos. And look at the landscape. This was the landscaping that was approved back in 2010. And some photographs showing how deficient it has become. And the applicant, again, is proposing to revert it back to this approved state. So some deficient areas. This would include adding dozens of different plants around the site. There are many proposed freestanding signs at the site, which is typical for a fast food restaurant location. Here's a look at that double-sided monument sign along Contra Costa Boulevard. The applicant's also proposing to replace the words drive-through on the bottom of that sign with the words breakfast. Staff recommends maintaining drive-through. We think it's more in line with what's historically approved for additional signs on monument signs. Here's a look at the freestanding clearance bar facility sign with no changes proposed here. And the digital menu board, there's no sign, there's no changes proposed there. In brief, staff took a look at the proposal, and the applicant is requesting 53 square feet, where 39 square feet would be allowed based on this building frontage. That constitutes review of a major sign adjustment, which would be reviewed by the Planning Commission at a later date. Staff does recommend eliminating that north elevation wall sign, which, if eliminated, would reduce it to 44 square feet, which could be approved through a minor sign adjustment. And that would also be consistent with the PC approval back in 2010. Again, they are proposing the word breakfast on the monument sign. We recommend maintaining the secondary copy to be drive-through. So discussion items for this evening are the project color scheme for the new building colors, the secondary sign copy reading breakfast on the double-faced monument sign, elimination of proposed wall sign on the north building elevation or maintaining it, the building mounted graphics within those architectural features. Those are not considered signage, by the way. And the modifications to the landscape plans to enhance the existing landscape areas that are deficient. Additional discussion items are the total wall sign area in excess of 14 square feet, total number of freestanding signs, excess of 4 freestanding signs, and the total sign face area of freestanding signs. These are all These all fall under use permit, major sign adjustment, and they would require review, additional review by the planning commission. So therefore, staff recommends the commission review the proposed plans, receive public testimony, and adopt architectural review commission resolution, which will be filled in if approved, accepting the cited CEQA exemption and recommending approval of the staff recommended condition of approval to the planning commission, the architectural review permit and sign permit. So this is a recommendation to the planning commission. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for staff?
So they have the same architectural feature on the north and south sides that frames the art piece, but they're only going to put the art in the south one? And indicate, do we know why?
I'm not aware of a reason why,
Okay.
and unfortunately, it looks like the applicant's not here to answer that question either.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to address the landscape portion of it. I mean, I see from some of the existing photographs where none of the landscape seems to be thriving there. So considering that, again, the landscape that is being proposed, is it more of a drought-resistant native species of plants, or is it just?
I can tell you which plants will be planted. So it would be 41 Japanese euonymus, 7 Hamelin grass, and 6 Yaupon holly or Lex palmatora, Yaupon holly.
You didn't take Latin?
I am right now.
The answer on the art is that they already have it and they only have one of them.
But the plans show a second. right?
No, the blue thing is just,
Oh, that thing. Oh, yeah.
they would be
that.
moving it, it looks like.
I don't want to switch it on you, but I believe there's some additional landscape photos that might show in the background some of the,
But I didn't see
Yeah.
much description about the
Yeah.
foliage.
Are there does the current sign approval have exceptions? Or does it meet this?
can you repeat that question for me?
The
Sorry.
current signs on the site, did they require an exception?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
they
it
were-
similar to what they are doing now?
So the sign area would be conforming with the past approval, which was an adjustment by the planning commission, if it weren't for the north-facing canopy-mounted sign over the drive-through. And in our staff analysis, this was prepared by Jeff Olson, he found that the sign doesn't have great visibility. It's blocked by McDonald's, it's blocked by trees. In addition to that, the west-facing sign and the freestanding monument sign provide plenty of advertising for the project site. The canopy sign over the drive-through seemed redundant to staff. But nonetheless, the applicant is requesting it.
Okay.
There are other adjustments to sign that will require planning commission review. So this project will go to planning commission whether or not that sign is maintained or eliminated.
Okay. Anything else? I feel like they don't have drawings of all the signs that they're doing.
Mhm.
Not sure we have the complete set. Like the monument sign. We don't have a drawing of the monument sign. Correct? I haven't found it.
Use your imagination.
Oh,
I mean, there's the photo. There. There it is.
Oh, over there. Yeah, 18, okay. And the clearance bar and stuff, there's no changes to that? It'll still be the orange, that color? Is that proposed to be changed or not? Clearance bar just says existing. On the table.
It is awkward to have that pole mast what matches the previous colors. I mean, you could condition the
Yeah.
mast to match the body color of the building, which is kind of what they did the first time.
Yeah. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah. I thought they were going to change it. That might have not just been thrown in here, but it's certainly reasonable to have that column match the color of the body color of the building that they're doing.
Great.
Otherwise, that goldish yellow just sits alone in its application.
Can we return to the monument sign?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the plans, it also says delivery drive-through and go mobile. It says alternate message graphics. So this is static, right? Like it would say one thing, it wouldn't be changing.
But they could cycle it out based on the season.
It could cycle it out. So is that a part of what they're also asking? So they're asking for approval of all of 4 options to be put underneath it. Okay.
Oh,
Well, I get it. There's go mobile season, there's drive-through season, right? Delivery season.
It might be at the whim of, we need to promote more Go Mobiles, so let's
Right.
put the Go Mobile.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thanks.
okay, where are we?
Public comment?
Public comment. Well, there's no one here from the applicant, correct? Okay. Would anyone like from the public might make a comment on the Taco Bell?
Come on up and speak if you
Yeah.
want
And get on the record.
Yeah. Let's pause.
We already have a speaker.
What's it called? Those orange things? What are those stanchions?
The clearance bar,
Clearance bar,
vertical one.
yeah,
Yeah.
pukey,
The vertical
whatever
column.
that is.
Okay,
Matches our sign that we're having put up. Kind
could
of.
repurpose it.
Yeah.
It could be right next to them.
Looks quite similar.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the,
Yeah, I think I see that yellow now, but it doesn't seem to reflect anywhere in the rest of the elevation.
it's left, it's existing. So I think that should be conditioned to match.
Yeah.
Should be purple.
Yeah, it doesn't match any of the.
Yeah. Purple, matching purple
Oh, it's not as golden there.
or the body.
Body color.
Well,
I mean, I think
it's his pet
probably
peeve,
the,
so he can.
I mean, I think the
dictate.
bells should be the purple. And then, the arrest could be the body color. And I think they could trade it out. Seems like it should be brought into conformance with their current graphics and
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah.
What?
Are you sure? Did you want the clearance bar to be painted purple?
No, the clearance bar has to be. the
Yeah,
out-
okay.
It's the vertical standard or whatever you'd call that.
The peach part.
The gold orange
Whatever
part,
that
you want
is.
that purple.
Would you like
The
that?
Taco Bell
The
purple,
column.
the column.
How about the column base?
I mean,
You don't want that.
they could put. I don't know.
Keep it the same gray or?
Don't give them ideas.
Hadn't thought that. I mean, they could put
And it
stone
would
on
match
it.
the
but-
stone wainscoting on the building.
You think you just leave it. not paint it.
Just leave it.
Only people who see this, are the ones who are back there.
Yeah,
I mean, the purple,
yeah. I think just bring it into the current building colors, that's the column.
Okay.
Then the other thing,
the signage on the north side,
yeah, you can get rid of that.
get rid of that?
Mhm.
All right.
We want to bring up the discussion items, and make sure we have covered them all.
Okay. Man,
I would just as soon have nothing underneath where it says Taco Bell on the monument sign.
yeah. Their own insecurity that their logo isn't good enough. I'm fine. I mean, if it fits into the sign area that's there now, that's fine.
Didn't we eliminate the drive-through? Didn't the Starbucks, the new Starbucks, didn't it have the Starbucks logo and say drive-through underneath originally? And we,
Change it to just say.
just the
drive-through.
logo?
Oh, just the logo.
I can't remember if they came in with just the logo.
But how does it look? Right now, I don't think it says drive-through on the monument
I don't think
sign.
it says drive-through.
Yeah, see, I think,
But that one was the big logo that was out there on the front of the building.
yeah.
There's no
was-
there's no freestanding sign, I don't think, for Starbucks, if I remember correctly. Like on the street, I
Yeah,
don't think there's
On
a,
Contra Costa, I mean.
yes, I don't think there's a freestanding because they have the big Starbucks logo on the building facing CCB.
Right.
So I don't, what, I could look at maps right now and see.
If only we could.
If only I could see that. Well, let me see.
I know somewhere we eliminated drive-through from a sign. I can't think of another drive-through that we have seen recently.
It's got a green
Or
spot.
some text underneath the.
Let's worry
sign.
about the length of the accessible parking stall.
Still under construction.
Ah,
You know, sometimes you can move around
Don't see a sign.
and
That's the little.
you know, if they drove like down the other side of
Big here,
CCB,
there's a big here.
I'm serious. If you move back and forth on our street, it changes like 5 years. Huh? The dimension?
Oh, there's probably.
it's it's existing. It's there. Lawsuit.
Do we have another drive-through that we've seen recently? And that's the one we're talking about.
What about the Taco Bell? on the north end of
Starbucks,
town?
we've done car washes.
I'm gonna also look on Google Maps. I thought that we had taken that off of somewhere.
They're right here.
And so,
Where is this? It's out at the street.
Wendy's, yeah, it's right here.
yeah, Street View.
It's right there, Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That's the new scheme, right? It's got that funky gray.
Yeah.
Well, the Taco Bell in the north end of town doesn't say drive-through, it just says Taco Bell.
It just says Taco Bell?
It says Taco Bell.
Okay.
It does, right there.
I think it should just say Taco Bell.
That's that's the monument sign?
Yeah.
So don't have the alternate message graphics.
Yeah, just Taco Bell and the bell.
So just coming back to the landscape question, was there an irrigation plan or anything submitted with the application?
They're proposing to revert to what it originally was, and as part of that approval, there is an irrigation plan and a landscape plan. So I think in part, they were just agreeing to go back to what they had. So the irrigation is already in there unless they dug it up, but we'll have to make sure it all goes in so that they plant and they all die. It's kind of pointless.
Right, I mean,
So
So they can do that. It was the approved plan, so it doesn't comply with, I guarantee, doesn't comply
Well,
with current water.
with
efficiency
Wheelo,
standards.
they have to like refurbish it, replace it. If they're just going to what's there,
Okay,
they're fine.
okay.
Which is probably why they didn't want to heavily modify it, because then they would trip all these other provisions of,
Right.
of water efficiency.
So for the building mounted graphics, you said it's not a sign, right?
The
So what's
buil-
the discussion there?
Yeah, we are supportive of it being termed as architectural features.
Okay, I mean, they have similar stuff there now, and it was probably turned that done in the past.
Uh-huh. I guess the big question, did we already? So the north sign, I think all three of us said, just get rid of it.
Mhm.
Then that makes them consistent with the original or the square footage of the prior approval.
Mhm.
All right.
I'd be fine with the cropping of the art to include the bell. It's kind of strangely cropped.
Huh?
It's strangely cropped that there's a bell, but you only see like the little corner of it.
Oh,
But in the existing photo, it goes farther.
oh.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with it. Seems awkward. They'll do something.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we have? The no north sign, the column of the canopy to match the new color scheme, and no drive-through on the monument sign.
No signage below the Taco Bell. None of the four.
Yeah,
Okay.
so those three things.
Yeah.
Someone like to make a motion?
I can make, I make a motion to approve with, what did we say again, the column, please stand, the drive-through column to match the existing, not the existing, but the proposed building colors. The second item was to remove the north sign. And what was the third item? we had?
Removing this text.
Oh, yeah, removing the text below the Taco Bell.
So it's a move to recommend to the planning commission.
And I would like to recommend to the planning commission.
Want a second?
No,
Second.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Patari,
Yes.
Chair Johansson.
yes. Thank you. Good luck with your project. Okay, any staff communications?
The only thing I would note that's probably of interest for you is we've released our pre-approved ADU plans.
I
So they
saw
are on
that
our
the
website. Yeah, so if you want to take a look at it and see what's on offer, that's on offer. And then just of note, although I'm sure you all know as well, we've started our climate action planning process. So that's ongoing, and hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have that done. So that's it.
Okay,
Saw the for sale signs on the hotel site, the former Black Angus site.
Correct.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Confirmed, yes. My eyes didn't deceive me.
all right.
Interesting.
Next meeting's March 20th. Will there be items on the agenda? Do we know?
I don't think we do, but I also can't remember right now.
Okay,
We'll let you know.
okay. Meeting adjourned.